Megaman is a fantastic series and one of Capcom's earliest hits, and also one of my favorite Capcom games. Believe it or not, but there was a time when Mega Man, aka the Blue Bomber, was the mascot and representative of Capcom. Unfortunately, after many games, the series is no longer a hit and has been buried with the rest of Capcom's legendary IPs. Now, the series may essentially be dead, but that doesn't mean it didn't have an impact with great gameplay and cool characters. Now, aside from the likes of Mega Man, Proto Man, or Roll, there was another character that ended up being shown a lot and was shaping up to be Mega Man's main rival. I mean, the guy even has a dog just like Mega Man. On this edition of Player Select, we look at Bass, or Forte, as he is known in Japan. Bass, known as Forte, is a robot master created by Dr. Wily to imitate Mega Man's design, along with Treble, an imitation of Rush's design, Mega Man's faithful dog. He was created based on a research conducted on Mega Man with the intention of surpassing his power. Bass is the prominent anti-hero of the original Mega Man series, and his goal is to become the most powerful robot in existence. Although Bass and Mega Man are rivals, at times they do team up to take down mutual enemies of the two, as was seen in the Super Nintendo game Rockman and Forte. Despite being created by Dr. Wily, Bass frequently rebels against his creator, usually for his own purposes. Bass was later succeeded by Zero, an advanced creation from Dr. Wily in the Mega Man X series, and a much cooler and better character overall. Bass's design was made in mind to be a polar opposite of Mega Man's. He's adorned in black armor with gold lining. On his chest there is a triangular bluish purple crystal, with some artwork showing an F for Forte engraved inside its center. Now, Bass is presented as being an extremely smug, bad-tempered, egotistical, rebellious, and fiercely independent and arrogant individual who believes that he's the strongest above all else. Quite a character, if you ask me. Bass is very prideful and thinks quite highly of himself, labeling everyone else around him as inferior junk robots. He's always been shown to hold a rivalry with Mega Man, but aside from him, Bass happens to have hatred for every robot that was created by Dr. Wily, with the possible exception of Treble, Reggae, and needless to say himself, since he feels that they're standing in the way of his goal to destroy Mega Man and become the strongest robot ever. Now, these are some of the appearances that Bass has made in the Mega Man franchise. Bass made his debut, an official debut I should say, in Mega Man 7 for the Super Nintendo. He is first encountered at the end of the opening stage and is fought as a mini-boss. According to himself, he and Treble were trying to stop Dr. Wily, and he picked that fight with Mega Man to see if he had lived up to his reputation. Now, if Mega Man defeats him, or fights him to a draw, then he'll tell Mega Man that he's as good as everyone says, and that he might not need his help after all. But if it's the other way around, then Bass will scoff at Mega Man, telling him that he's too weak to battle Wily. Later on, Bass and Treble are seen again at Shade Man's stage after purposely getting themselves injured in battle. Bass then starts putting himself down, saying that he feels stupid to have been beaten so easily, and that he should probably leave Wily to Mega Man. Mega Man responds by telling him that they're a team, and that Dr. Light will be glad to fix him up. Bass and Treble then warp away to Dr. Light's lab to get repaired. Sometime later, after the repairs were finished, Mega Man comes back to the lab to find that it's been trashed and destroyed, and that the culprit behind it was none other than Bass. Dr. Light then tells him that Bass stole all the parts for the new enhancements as well. Shortly afterward, Dr. Wily appears on the monitor and reveals that Bass and Treble are indeed his creations, and that he used Bass to get closer to Mega Man so that he could earn his trust, and then steal the super adapter blueprints so that he could use the enhancement for Bass and Treble themselves. Now, of course, if you've played the Mega Man games, especially 7 and 8, then you know that these supposed enhancements don't amount to much, as Bass ends up being defeated by Mega Man several times over. But even though he keeps getting defeated, Bass vows to defeat Mega Man one day. Now, cool fact, Bass and Treble were originally named Baroque and Crash in the earlier designs by Keiji Inafune. Now, this was a play on the names Rock and Rush to emphasize their role as rivals. Inafune wanted to create a full-time rival for Mega Man who was extremely competitive and absolutely hated to lose. Inafune eventually asked Hayato Kaji to create the designs that would become Bass and Treble. Baroque is a style of music originating from the time period of the same name, and Crash is a type of cymbal. As you remember, in Mega Man, there is a musical theme going here. In the Japanese version, Mega Man is called Rock Band. So obviously you see rock and roll, as roll is a sister. And then that's why we're going to have bass be Bass and Treble. It was a whole musical score, musical theme, which was pretty cool. Again, I don't mind the names that we gave him. I don't mind Mega Man, that's a really cool name. But it was also cool when you see the original intent and thought of trying to have this whole musical theme involved. Now, Bass was a pretty decent character. I can't say he was super cool, but he was definitely interesting. He appeared in the later Mega Man games, so it's kind of hard to base an opinion on the character. As stated earlier, when the X games came around, Bass was essentially replaced by Zero, a much better character. Still, it was pretty cool that in the later games they gave him a multi-directional Buster Cannon, and his energy is a very green looking color. But pretty much that's the story of Bass from the Mega Man games. And once again, guys, if you like this little bit of info, think about subscribing or even dropping a like. And as always, friends, please take care.